Scaffold accidents. They happen with startling frequency. Scaffold accidents do not have to happen. By knowing and following procedures for safe use, you can protect yourself and your coworkers from accidents that could be avoided. Scaffolds are used in construction for both interior and exterior work. They may be supported scaffolds or suspension scaffolds. A suspension scaffold means one or more platforms suspended by ropes or other non-rigid means from an overhead structure or structures. A supported scaffold means one or more platforms supported by outrigger beams, brackets, poles, legs, uprights, posts, frames, or similar rigid support. Today we're going to talk about supported scaffolds because these are the type used most frequently in construction. A key element in scaffold safety, whether it's a supported scaffold or a suspension scaffold, is platform weight capacity. In general, all scaffolds and scaffold components must be capable of supporting the weight of the structure and at least 4 times the maximum intended load applied. To ensure this integrity, it's important that scaffolds be designed by a qualified person and constructed and loaded according to design. Another element important to your safety and that of your coworkers is scaffold platform construction. Safety dictates that all working level platforms be fully planked or decked between the front uprights and the guardrail supports. If the platform is composed of several individual platform units, such as scaffold-grade planks, then the maximum space allowed between units or between a unit and an upright is 1 inch. However, if you can demonstrate that a wider space is necessary, for example, to fit around uprights when side brackets are used to extend the width of the platform, then an open space of up to 9 1/2 inches is allowed. Scaffold platforms and walkways must be at least 18 inches wide, with certain exceptions. The maximum allowable space between the working edge of a platform and the face of the work surface is 14 inches, unless a guardrail system or personal fall arrest system is used to protect employees from falling. Exceptions apply to outrigger scaffolds and plastering and lathing operations. Each platform end must extend over its support by at least 6 inches unless it is cleated or otherwise restrained from movement by hooks or equivalent means. The end of each platform that is 10 feet or less in length must not extend over its support by more than 12 inches. The end of each platform that is more than 10 feet in length must not extend over its support by more than 18 inches. However, in both cases, the maximum extension distance over the support may be increased if the platform is designed and installed to support employees or has guardrails to block employees' access to the cantilevered end. On scaffolds where scaffold planks are abutted to create a long platform, each abutted end must rest on a separate support surface. On scaffolds where platforms are overlapped to create long platforms, the overlap must occur only over supports and shall not be less than 12 inches unless the platforms are nailed together or otherwise restrained to prevent movement. At all points of a scaffold where a platform changes direction, such as turning a corner, any platform on a bearer that rests at an angle other than a right angle must be laid first. Platforms that rest at a right angle over the same bearer must be laid second on top of the first platform. Besides meeting specifications for platform construction, supported scaffolds must also meet certain criteria to help ensure stability. Supported scaffolds with a height-to-base width ratio of more than 4 to 1 must be restrained from tipping by guying, tying, bracing, or equivalent means. Guys, ties, and braces must be installed at locations where horizontal members support both inner and outer legs. These must be installed according to the manufacturer's recommendations or at the closest horizontal member to the 4 to 1 height. These must be repeated vertically at locations of horizontal members every 20 feet or less thereafter for scaffolds 3 feet wide or less, and every 26 feet or less thereafter for scaffolds greater than 3 feet wide. Guys, ties, and braces must also be installed at each end of the scaffold and at horizontal intervals not to exceed 30 feet. Supported scaffold poles, legs, posts, frames, and uprights must be supported by base plates and, when needed, mud sills or other adequate firm foundation. In addition, footings must be level, sound, and rigid, and capable of supporting the loaded scaffold without settling or displacement. Also, supported poles, legs, posts, frames, and uprights must be plumb and braced to prevent swaying and displacement. Still, another element important to your safety is the method of access to the scaffold. When scaffold platforms are more than 2 feet above or below the point of access, a suitable ladder, stair, tower, ramp, walkway, personnel hoist, or other suitable structure is required for access. Bracing may not be used as a means of access. If you're using hook-on or attachable ladders, they must be positioned so their bottom rung is not more than 24 inches above the scaffold supporting level. When hook-on or attachable ladders are used on a supported scaffold more than 35 feet high, they must have rest platforms at 35-foot intervals. Scaffold accidents do not have to happen. By making sure supported scaffolds meet requirements for design and construction, you can help ensure your own safety and that of your coworkers. Next time, we'll talk about safe work practices while using supported scaffolds. Until then, this is James Drury reminding you to take care and be safe.